Welcome to the world of science fiction Neon's Alien. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss a new story from Neon's Alien universe. The ground was cold. The sky was burning. Jackson lay on the cracked dirt of an alien moon, blood pouring from his chest. His breathing was slow. Each breath felt like fire in his lungs. The stars above him blurred. Explosions echoed in the distance. He had been part of a human peace mission, sent to patrol a quiet sector. But the quiet was a lie. The moment his squad landed, they were ambushed by unknown alien fighters. His teammates were gone, either dead or taken. And now, Jackson was alone, dying. "I don't want to die like this," he whispered, choking, but there was no help coming. His comm device was broken, his rifle was empty. His vision darkened with every heartbeat. The alien forest nearby glowed with strange red trees moving slightly in the wind like they were watching. He dragged himself toward the trees. Maybe he could die in the shade, not out here like garbage. He crawled into the dark forest, his blood, leaving a trail behind. Strange lights flickered between the trees. The silence was heavy. Every step was harder than the last. Then, he collapsed. "This is it," he thought. "This is how it ends." But then, she came. At first, he saw only a shadow. Tall, graceful, glowing red eyes. Then she stepped into the pale moonlight. Her skin was smooth and silver blue. Her long hair flowed like liquid night. Her black robes danced without wind. And her face, beautiful and dangerous, like a dream hiding a blade. She knelt beside him. "You're dying," she said, her voice soft and echoing like it came from another world. Jackson tried to speak, but no sound came. She leaned closer. Her eyes studied him. "You're human," she whispered. "Strange. I thought your kind didn't come this deep." She reached into her robe and pulled out a small silver blade. Jackson's eyes widened in fear, but she didn't stab him. Instead, she cut her own palm. Dark red blood, almost black, dripped from her hand. She held it above his mouth. "One drop," she said. "It will change everything." Jackson couldn't think. He didn't understand. But something in him trusted her. Or maybe he just didn't want to die. The drop fell onto his tongue, and the world exploded. His body convulsed. Pain shot through his bones like fire and ice mixed together. His chest glowed. His heart stopped, then started again, faster, louder, stronger. He screamed, but no sound came. His vision turned white, then black, then nothing. He woke up hours later, alone. His wounds gone, his uniform burned, but his body felt different. He stood up slowly, confused. He could see clearly in the dark. He could hear insects crawling under the ground. He could smell blood on the air, his own, old and dried. He looked at his hands, stronger, veins darker, skin cooler. "What did she do to me?" he whispered. He searched the area, but she was gone. No footprints, no trail, but the memory of her eyes haunted him. Jackson walked for hours, not tired, not thirsty. He finally reached the crash site of his team's ship. It was still burning. His captain's helmet lay cracked nearby. His squad was gone, confirmed dead. He picked up a mirror shard and looked at himself. His eyes were now faintly glowing red, just like hers. His hands trembled. He wasn't just alive. He was changed. Something inside him had awakened as he sat near the fire, trying to calm his racing mind. A voice echoed inside his head, not his own. "You carry my blood now, human. We are linked. If you wish to survive what comes next, find me again, or the blood will consume you." Jackson stood up quickly, heart pounding. "What does that mean?" No answer. Only silence. Only the dark. But far away, hidden in the mountains of the red moon, the alien woman stood on a high cliff. She looked toward the burning trees where she had left the human. Her eyes were full of sorrow and something else. "Let's see if you survive, Jackson," she whispered. "Let's see if you are worthy of the blood." The moonlight faded as Jackson moved through the alien forest, but he didn't need light anymore. His eyes cut through the dark like it was day. Every leaf, every sound, every shadow. He could see, hear, and feel everything. He wasn't sure how long he had been walking. Maybe hours. Maybe days. But he didn't feel tired. Not even a little. Something was wrong. Something was different. He stopped beside a still pond, the water reflecting his face like glass. At first it looked normal. But then he leaned closer. His eyes, red, faint, but glowing. His skin, paler than before. His breath fogged the air even though the night wasn't cold. Jackson reached up and touched his neck. He could still feel a heartbeat, but it was too slow, too calm, almost like it didn't matter. "What did she do to me?" he whispered. Suddenly he dropped to his knees. A sharp pain hit his chest, hot, deep, and burning. It felt like fire was crawling through his veins. He clutched the ground, his nails digging into the dirt. He could feel something moving inside him. A hunger. A pull. It wasn't food he craved. It was something alive. He stumbled into a cave nearby to rest, hiding from the light of the rising suns. The planet's twin stars were bright, too bright. His eyes burned when they hit the sunlight. It was like knives cutting into his vision. Inside the cave, it was quiet and cool. He finally felt peace, until the dreams came. In his sleep, he saw her, the alien woman, her silver blue face, her long black hair, her eyes glowing like fire. But in the dream, he was inside her mind. He saw memories, battles, wars fought long ago, a council of glowing beings rejecting her, calling her cursed, calling her bloodborne. Then, a burning city. Her people hunted. She ran through the shadows, alone for centuries, then him, his face, his wounds, his death. Her choice, to give him her blood. A bond formed. A link sealed. Jackson woke up gasping. Sweat rolled down his face, but he wasn't afraid. He was connected to her now. He had seen what she had seen. He could feel her thoughts like a whisper in his head. He wasn't just healed. He was tied to her. Suddenly, a noise outside. Boots. He crouched low, silent. A patrol of human soldiers moved through the trees. Signal was coming from this area, one said. Maybe it's Jackson, maybe it's whatever killed him. Jackson stepped into the open slowly. They raised their weapons instantly. "Don't shoot," he shouted. "It's me, Lieutenant Jackson Reed." One soldier scanned him. The scanner blinked. "Red infection detected," the soldier said. "Not fully human, might be dangerous." "What are you talking about?" Jackson said. "Protocol 7, contain or eliminate unknown biologics." They aimed. Jackson panicked. "Wait, no!" They fired. But Jackson moved fast, too fast. 1 second he was standing still. Next second he was behind them. They turned, confused. Where did he? He didn't hurt them. He just ran. Blinding speed, inhuman strength. He was gone before they could aim again. Back in the forest, Jackson dropped to his knees. His hands trembled. "I'm not human anymore." He knew now. He was something else. Stronger. Faster. But also hunted. By his own people. By his enemies. And maybe by her. He sat under the red tree, shaking. "Why did you save me?" he whispered to the sky. Then from deep inside his mind, her voice. "Because you were dying, and I needed someone who could survive the blood. You were chosen, Jackson, but you must find me, or it will consume you." The bond grew stronger. He could feel her location. Faint. Like a star on the edge of his senses, She was far, but not unreachable. And if he didn't find her soon, the power inside him would grow wild. He would lose himself. Jackson stood up slowly. He looked toward the black mountains far away, toward her, toward answers. He clenched his fists, feeling power ripple through his arms. Whatever he had become, it wasn't a curse. It was a beginning. The stars above the alien moon looked peaceful, but peace was a lie. Jackson was now running, for his life, and for something more. He dashed through thick forests, his feet barely touching the ground. His body felt light, fast, like he was flying over the land. But no matter how far he ran, he knew they were close. Humans behind him, aliens ahead of him, and no one wanted him alive. His own military, the United Human Command, had sent a Black Ops team, not to rescue him, to destroy him. They called him infected. They believed he carried a weapon in his blood, a threat to Earth and all colonies. Orders were simple: terminate the asset, retrieve the body. Jackson had seen the kill order himself, intercepted from a downed drone. "I'm not a monster," he whispered as he moved through the jungle. But no one cared. They feared what he had become. Then there were the others. Not human. Not like Virella. Worse. He'd first seen them 3 nights ago, dark figures with sharp bone armor and glowing green eyes. They didn't speak. They didn't move like people. They stalked him from the shadows, watching, waiting. They were called bone hunters, and they were hunting Virella's blood. Jackson's body ached. The vampire blood inside him was still adjusting, still burning through his human soul. It gave him strength, yes, but also weakness. Sunlight hurt. Loud noises triggered pain. Hunger followed him like a shadow. But still, he pushed forward. He had a feeling, a direction, a whisper in his bones. She was calling. Virella. He had to find her before the blood inside him turned wild, before he became the monster they feared. That night he found an abandoned outpost, built by human colonists long ago. Inside, he saw mirrors cracked and windows broken, but he also found a working terminal. He activated it. DNA scan, error. Subject, unknown hybrid class. Warning, organic transformation detected. Jackson leaned closer. Warning, subject may experience memory bleed, hunger spikes, emotional fusion, and primal rage. Time until full mutation, 6 days. He stepped back. 6 days. That's all he had. Just then, a sound, too soft for normal ears. But Jackson heard it. Click, step, breath. Someone or something was coming. He turned quickly and crouched behind a metal crate. The door opened. 2 human soldiers walked in, scanning the room. "We lost his trail near here," one said. "He's close. Orders say shoot first, bag later." The other soldier frowned. "Are we sure he's hostile?" "Command thinks so. Says the alien blood changes the brain, makes them lose control." Jackson's hands curled into fists. He wanted to shout, "I'm still human. I'm still me." But before he could move, another sound came. A scream. Not from him, from the soldier. Something leapt from the ceiling. A bone hunter. It tore through the first soldier like paper. The second tried to shoot, but it was too fast. Blood sprayed across the wall. Jackson stood slowly, his body moving on instinct. The bone hunter turned toward him. It paused. It sniffed the air. It sensed the vampire blood. It roared and charged. Jackson didn't run. He fought. The battle was quick but brutal. Jackson moved like lightning, dodging sharp claws and teeth. He grabbed a broken metal rod and drove it through the alien's chest, but it didn't die. It laughed, a deep, inhuman sound. Then it spoke. For the first time. "You carry her blood. We want it back." Jackson's eyes glowed red. "You'll have to take it from my corpse." He grabbed a fuel tank, threw it at the creature, and kicked it into the wall. Boom. The outpost exploded in fire as Jackson jumped through a side window, landing hard but alive. He didn't look back. He didn't stop. He ran into the night. burning, hungry, afraid, but also angry. They all wanted to kill him, but no one had asked him what he wanted. He was done running. He would find Virella. He would learn the truth. He would control the blood, or burn trying. And far away, deep under a mountain, Virella opened her eyes. She touched the stone walls of her prison, weak and chained. She felt his presence in the distance. "Jackson," she whispered. "You're coming." Lightning flashed above the dark mountains. Cold rain poured down, washing the blood from Jackson's arms. He didn't stop. He couldn't. His body burned. His heart raced. The bond inside him stronger now. Every step pulled him toward her. Toward Virella. He climbed sharp rocks and crossed black rivers until he found the hidden temple, just like the whisper in his blood had shown him. The building was ancient, carved into the side of a dead volcano. Giant statues of winged warriors stood guard, their eyes glowing faintly. The temple was silent, but not empty. Jackson stepped inside. The air was heavy with old power. Faded carvings told stories of beings with long fangs and glowing eyes. Some showed them healing the sick. Others showed them fighting gods. He realized something. These creatures weren't monsters, they were protectors. And they were hunted, just like Virella. He followed the tunnel down, deeper into the earth. The bond inside his chest guided him like a compass. Then he heard it, a heartbeat, faint, slow, familiar. He ran. Jackson found a cold chamber glowing with blue fire. Virella lay on a stone bed chained with energy ropes, her body thin, her face pale. Her once glowing eyes were dim. A ring of alien runes surrounded her, blocking her power. Jackson rushed forward. "Virella," she opened her eyes slowly. "Jackson." "You came," she whispered. He knelt beside her. "I had to. The blood, you gave me something. It's changing me, but I need answers. I need you." She smiled weakly. "You came just in time. If you hadn't, I would have faded completely." He looked at her chains. "I'll get you out." "No," she said. "The runes are too strong. They feed off my energy. But your blood is still new, still wild. You can break them." Jackson's hands glowed faint red. The bond reacted. Without thinking, he reached out and touched the chains. They burned his skin, but cracked. He pushed harder. With a final scream, he shattered the last rune. The chamber exploded with energy as Virella gasped, her body glowing once more. She sat up, breathing deep as her strength returned. Then she looked at him seriously. "You deserve the truth now." Jackson nodded. "Tell me everything." She began to speak. "My people were once guardians of life, not killers. We were born from the stars. Our blood could heal, protect, and even connect souls. But we were feared, called parasites, called vampires. The empires joined forces to destroy us." She paused. "I was the last of the high-blooded. I hid for centuries, alone, watching my people die. I swore never to pass on my gift, until I saw you, dying and still fighting to breathe. Something in me chose you." Jackson listened quietly. She looked away. "But there's more. When I gave you my blood, I gave you a bond no one has carried in 1,000 years. A twin flame. 2 souls, linked forever." Jackson's eyes widened. "You mean?" She nodded. "If one of us dies, the other begins to die too." He stepped back. "Why didn't you tell me?" "Because I didn't want to trap you." He was silent. Then softly, "It doesn't feel like a trap anymore." Just then, a loud crash. The temple shook. Shadows filled the hall, bone hunters, dozens of them. They surrounded the chamber, eyes glowing green. One stepped forward. "The blood must be erased. Both of you must die." Jackson stood in front of Virella. "Over my dead body." The hunter laughed. "That is the idea." Then something happened. Virella touched Jackson's shoulder. "Let me show you how to use the bond." Their hands touched. Flames of blood-red light burst between them. Their powers merged. The chamber lit up as the floor cracked and the air shook. Jackson's body changed. His strength doubled. His eyes burned like fire. He looked at the hunters. Let's finish this. The battle was brutal. But this time Jackson didn't run. He fought like a warrior born from fire and shadow. Varela moved beside him, sharp, fast, graceful. Together they were unstoppable, and when the last hunter fell, silence returned. Jackson stood over the broken ruins, breathing heavy. Varela touched his face. "You're ready now," she said. "But the galaxy isn't. They fear what we are. They will keep coming." "Let them," Jackson said. "We'll fight together." But inside, he knew something had changed. He didn't just want answers anymore. He wanted revenge. The sky over Zell 47 turned red. From orbit it looked like a dying world. But on the ground, war had just begun. Jackson stood on a cliff beside Varela, staring down at a massive alien army forming in the valley. War machines, hover tanks, and metal. Beasts marched toward the black stone fortress known as the Vault. Inside that vault was something ancient, something dangerous, something powered by vampire blood. Varela's voice was steady. That weapon was built during the Blood Wars. They believed if they harvested enough blood from my kind, they could create a god. Jackson looked at her. "And now they've found enough, haven't they?" She nodded. "Yes. You." Jackson froze. "They've been tracking your blood signature since the moment I turned you. They needed a final piece to unlock it. Now they'll try to use it, unless we stop them first." Jackson looked down at his hands. He didn't ask to be this. He didn't want to be a key to destruction. But he also knew one thing. He was the only one who could end this. That night, under a broken sky, Jackson and Varela moved toward the vault. Not with an army, but alone. Stealth was their weapon. Blood was their shield. Inside the vault, things were worse than expected. Vats, filled with dark liquid, bubbled across the chambers. Stolen vampire blood. Dozens of prisoners, half-drained, were hooked to machines. Their eyes glowed dimly. They had been kept alive for centuries just to bleed. Jackson's fists clenched. What kind of monsters do this? Varela didn't answer. She couldn't. Her face was pale with rage. They freed the prisoners. Varela whispered ancient words that made their bodies flicker and vanish, teleported far from the vault. Then they moved to the core. At the center of the vault stood the blood engine, a machine the size of a building, covered in spikes, burning with red energy. It was alive, and it spoke. Blood source identified. Match found. Subject J13. Welcome, keyholder. Awaiting activation. Jackson stepped back. "No way, I'm not starting your war," but the machine kept speaking. "Power surge detected, preparing to unlock Immortal protocol." Suddenly, alarms blared. Metal guards rose from the walls. The vault had awakened. Varela shouted, "We need to destroy it before it copies your blood." Jackson nodded. "I'll draw them off, you find the core." "No," she said, "we fight together." But Jackson was already moving, too fast to stop. He smashed into the metal guards with a fury he didn't know he had. His strikes broke steel. His eyes burned bright red. He was no longer just a soldier. He was something more. Something unstoppable. Varela reached the core. The machine tried to speak to her, offer her power, return her people's throne. But she smiled coldly. "I'm not here to rule." She placed both hands on the crystal heart of the machine and whispered, "Blood." Returned to silence. The engine cracked. The blood inside boiled, and then it exploded. Outside, Jackson was thrown to the ground as a massive red light burst from the vault. The machines collapsed. The sky turned black again. It was done. The blood engine was destroyed, but Varela didn't come out. Jackson ran into the ruins, coughing through smoke and fire. He found her collapsed on the floor, burned, fading. No. No, 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 he shouted. She looked up weakly. I used too much. I gave the last of it. Jackson knelt beside her, tears falling. There's got to be something. She smiled. There is. You. He understood. She had given him her blood once. Now it was his turn. Jackson bit his own wrist. Dark red drops fell onto her lips. Her body shivered. Her eyes opened again, slowly. The bond between them flared brighter than ever. For a moment, their souls touched, and in that moment, they both saw everything, all pain, all memory, all love. Virella sat up, breathing hard. She looked at him with new eyes. You gave everything, Jackson smiled, and I'd do it again. Outside, silence returned to the galaxy. No one knew what had happened. Not yet. But word would spread. The vault was destroyed. The blood war ended. A human and a vampire woman stopped it alone. And that's when the whispers began. The immortal war had ended because of love. The fires of the destroyed vault still burned behind them, casting a dull red glow across the ash-covered ground. The wind was quiet now. The machines had fallen. The sky had stopped screaming. But peace didn't return. Not yet. Because Virella was dying again. Jackson sat beside her, holding her close, but her body was cold. Even after he gave her his blood, and it wasn't enough. The bond had saved her for a moment, but now it was fading fast. Her head rested on his shoulder. I thought... We did it, she whispered. We did, Jackson said, his voice breaking. You destroyed the blood engine. You saved them all. She shook her head slowly. But I didn't save you. The bond was never meant for a human. You've given too much. Jackson felt dizzy. The more blood he gave, the weaker he became. His skin was pale, his heartbeat slow. But none of that mattered. Not to him. I don't care what I am anymore, he said. I just want you to live. Virella looked up, her eyes glowing faintly. There's only one way left. What way? She hesitated, then spoke. The final transfer. Jackson had never heard of it, but deep in her blood, in the bond they now shared, the memory came. A ritual lost to time. One last drop. One final gift. If he gave everything, all of his blood, all of his essence, she would live. Stronger than before, free from the fading, but he would not survive. No, Virella said, shaking her head. I won't take your life. Jackson took her hand gently. You already gave me mine. He leaned closer. I died once. Remember? In that forest? Bleeding out. You saved me. This is different, she said, voice trembling. I know, this time I choose it. She looked into his eyes and saw no fear. The ritual began under the burned moonlight. Jackson laid down, closing his eyes. Virella leaned over him, tears falling on his chest. I'll remember you, she said softly. Forever. She bit her wrist, and the final drop of her blood touched his lips. Then she leaned in and slowly drank the last of his. Light exploded around them. The ground shook. A pillar of red and white energy burst into the sky like a scream of fire. All across the planet, people looked up. Soldiers, healers, survivors, even orbiting ships saw it. They didn't understand. But they felt it. Something powerful had awakened. When the light faded, only Virella remained. She stood tall. Her eyes glowed brighter than ever. Her skin shimmered like starlight. The ancient chains on her soul, gone. The final transfer had worked. She was reborn. But the cost? Jackson's body lay still on the ground. No breath, no heartbeat. Virella knelt beside him, weeping. You foolish, beautiful human. Her fingers brushed his face one last time. You gave me everything. She buried him at the edge of the cliff, where the stars could always see him. A simple marker made of stone. No crown, no titles. Just his name, Jackson. But as she stood over the grave, something strange happened. The bond didn't break. She felt it, faint, but real, inside her chest, a heartbeat. Not hers, his. She closed her eyes, and in the silence of her mind, a voice whispered, "I'm still here." Her eyes opened wide. The bond hadn't died, because Jackson hadn't either, not fully. His soul, his will, his essence, lived inside her, merged, bound, forever. She placed a hand over her chest and smiled through the tears. "You're immortal now," she said softly. "Just like me." And far above, on distant worlds, the story spread. A human gave his last drop of blood, so an alien woman could live. And in doing so became legend. They called it the last drop. The galaxy was quiet, but it didn't feel at peace. Ships floated above burned skies. Cities whispered of war and blood. And across the stars, one name began to rise. Jackson, the human who died, the human who gave, the human who would never be forgotten. Varela walked through the capital of Uranus Prime, once the heart of an empire that hunted her kind. Now its people bowed in silence as she passed, not out of fear, but out of respect. Her steps echoed through the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, a place that had once judged her people as monsters. Now she was the one standing in judgment. A tall elder stepped forward. "You carry the blood of the ancients, but also the blood of the human who saved us all." Varela looked him in the Hyson, "You called us beasts. You called us disease. And yet it was his blood, not yours, that ended the war." Murmurs rippled through the council. Another voice asked, "What do you want, Varela of the blood flame?" She stepped forward slowly. "I want his sacrifice remembered. I want the truth spoken in every system. I want the hunted to never be hunted again." She paused. "And I want the galaxy to know this. A human gave everything, not for power, but for love." The chamber was silent. Then, slowly, they stood, each one by one, not as rulers, but as witnesses. A new law was passed that day, across all star systems. No species shall be judged by legend or fear, only by action. And Jackson's name was written into the Book of Balance, beside those of ancient heroes and timeless guardians. But that wasn't the end. Not even close. That night, Varela stood on the rooftop of the tallest tower. Stars glittered above her, but her eyes were closed. She listened. To the bond, to the heartbeat still inside her, to him. "Do you miss me?" "Every moment," she whispered. "Then don't cry. I'm part of you now. In your breath, in your steps, in every choice you make." She smiled faintly. "But what if I want more than memories?" "Then find a way, Varela. You're immortal. So am I. What's time to us?" And so, she began the search. Not for power, not for revenge, but for a way to bring him back. Fully. Across forgotten planets and broken archives, she searched for whispers of soul restoration, of memory crystals, of rebirth through blood. She followed old myths, hunted long-lost tech, fought through time-locked ruins, and slowly, piece by piece, she built something. A chamber, a cradle of flame and thought. A new chance. And on the 365th night since Jackson's death, she stood over the altar, her hands glowing with ancient runes. She whispered a single word: return. The stars flickered, the chamber shook, and from the center, a breath, one breath, then another. Eyes opened, confused, awake, red glowing. His eyes. Jackson sat up, coughing, blinking. His hand trembled as it reached toward her. "Varela?" She caught him in her arms before he could fall. "You came back," she whispered. He looked around, dazed. "I thought I was Gone. You were, she said, but I never let go. He looked into her eyes. How long? A year. A long time to be alone. She smiled. Not anymore. Outside, the universe turned again, but now it had something new. Not a weapon, not a king, not a god, but two souls bound by choice, by blood, by something deeper than fate. Jackson was no longer fully human. Varela was no longer the last of her kind. Together they were something the stars had never seen, a legend that lived. And somewhere, on a young colony world, a child pointed at the night sky and asked, "Mama, who's that in the story?" The mother smiled. That's Jackson, the man who gave his last drop to save a dying alien girl. And did she love him? Oh yes, she said, enough to search across a galaxy and bring him back.